one of the supporters that's been around ever since I started my YouTube channel, CeeLo. Well, I call him CeeLo. I think his name on YouTube, Cello. But during a live stream last night, he told me about this game, Space Blaze, that I was aware of. I saw it on the eShop, but I had no idea that a physical version was coming out, let alone coming out in Germany. So there's this eBay seller. He's got a few PS4 copies. He's not trying to send any of them to the US. But I did a search, and there is a guy that has a couple of Switch copies. I ordered one last night, and as of the recording of this video, there's one left, and there it is. It's like 50 some bucks. First come, first serve. I let a couple people know about it, but I just lit a fire under your ass by sharing it on YouTube, so hopefully somebody goes and cops that. And another game that's in development right now is Aleste Branch. Now, Aleste Branch was actually announced in 2018 to commemorate the 30th anniversary of Aleste, which is an IP that M2 now owns, which is a great thing because they brought a bunch of people together, old compile developers, to make GGLS 3. I mean, a company that's willing to do that, I mean, really cares about their IP. So, yeah, I'm interested to see what this game brings to the table. I'm assuming this thing's going to come out in arcades and hopefully to consoles. Hopefully M2 will do a physical. We'll see. It's probably not going to be for a couple of years down the road, but I'm glad to see that they're working on stuff and they're actually getting a lot of use out of the Aleste IP. The last game that I want to bring to everybody's attention is a shooter called Sinjin Aleste. It's another M2 game, another IP in the Aleste series. But it's a game that I saw some gameplay footage on and I was immediately interested. And you'll see what I mean. This looks like something that Cave would develop. This doesn't really look like something in the Aleste series. But from what I saw online, this is supposed to be an arcade game. I don't know if they have any console port planned, but guys, we have to stay on M2. That way they eventually get this thing ported to consoles. I mean, look at that. I mean, I'm assuming this thing's going to be exclusive to Japan, but man, they need to port it to consoles and we need to get a physical release. I mean, look at that. I mean, come on. Figure I'd bring it to you guys' attention. We need to get on M2 about this one. Some of these games I got more recent than others, but most of these games I got a few years ago. The prices were a lot lower when I got most of these, keep that in mind, but at the same time, most of these games were still expensive. So to start this off, we got G Darius and we have Raystorm. Now this might, to most of you, might not seem like anything special, but these were actually the first set of shooters that I got for the PlayStation 1 that got me into, I don't want to say game collecting, but I'd say shooters on the PS1. I really wasn't into shooters on the PS1 when the PS1 was in its heyday, but when I got these two games, it kind of sparked that interest again. Interesting thing about Raystorm I noticed, and I had some Working Designs games as a kid. I had Lunar and a couple of PS2 games, but I didn't know that they actually ported shooters over too, and I saw that, and I saw the Spaz label, and that's when I learned about the Spaz label and learned that Working Designs, I mean, they've been porting shooters over for a long time, but this is the first time I really noticed it. Both of these games are in decent shape. All these games, I got little plastic protectors on them, but yeah, the Working Design stuff, even this game, even though it's like a regular jewel case, it still has the foil cover or the shiny metallic lettering and the I don't know. You guys know what I'm talking about if you've ever handled any Working Designs games. A lot of them have, especially like the Sega CD games, a lot of those had the foil covers. But anyway, here we go. We have G Darius and Raystorm on the PlayStation 1. Okay, here we go. Next up, we have some Genesis games. Now, these were not cheap. Sorry about that glare there. These were not cheap. These were $100 a piece. So this Castlevania Bloodlines. Now, I know the clamshell case is probably more desirable, but this is the only one that I've ever at least found for a reasonable price. This thing's like, it's in pretty good condition, and it was kept inside of this plastic protector. I paid $100 for this thing, and I did get it at the flea market, so yeah, that is kind of expensive. At least I'm pretty sure I paid $100. I know I didn't pay more than $100 for any of these games, but I got these games pretty much around the same time. I think I got all these games within the same week because I saw them all there. And this one right here, man, it doesn't have the hang tab, but it is an original case. Everything's in there. All these games have their manuals. The Castlevania game has a black and white manual, which, you know, that kind of sucks. The clamshell has the color manual, but I would argue that this may be rarer just in the condition that it's in because it is a cardboard case. So there is that. There is, I'm sure, some collectability in that. God, that glare is awful. Jesus Lord. Here. How about that? There we go. That's bearable. The Grindstormer. This is okay. So this shooter, when they had that group of shooters that came out for the Genesis just recently, the Toplin. See, this is a Toplin game. How come Grindstormer wasn't in the Toplin collection that came out for the Genesis just recently? Why is that? Is it because of the Tengen thing? Does Atari still own the IP for this? What's up with that? Grindstormer and V5. V5's on this cart too. Don't forget that. Which is, I guess, the Japanese version of Grindstormer. Awesome shooter. This is, God, one of my favorite shooters on the Genesis. I'm so glad I own this physically. It's a excellent shooter, and I have heard rumors of the Tengen carts going bad after a while. This one still works, at least knock on wood. But again, this one was $100, just like the Castlevania. But I was happy to pay it. At the time, it was going for a little bit more than that, and I'm pretty sure it's probably going for more than that today. And God, that glare. Jesus Lord. All right, good enough. This isn't even really a game I really play. I only bought this because I knew it was rare. I usually don't do that. I usually only buy games to play, but I saw this, and again, it was $100. It's all original. This thing is in the best condition that I've ever seen a Genesis game. I put a plastic cellophane on it. Other than some dust at the top of the box there that I didn't wipe off, this thing is in like the mintiest of mint condition that a Genesis game could be in if it wasn't sealed. So I know this is worth something. I've seen eBay. I've seen them go for a little bit. I'm just waiting for the right opportunity to probably trade this. I've had it for a few years at this point, but if I could find a good shooter, I will definitely, I'd part ways with this for the right game. But anyway, we have Castlevania Bloodlines, Grindstormer, and Splatterhouse 3, all on the Sega Genesis. Okay. Next game, and this is just border down a shooter that you don't see. I guess this is the collector's edition. There was 2 editions of this that came out. One that came in a regular jewel case and one that came in a double din CD case. I like how the Dreamcast uses those white cases. I like that. This just pretty much is the game. It comes with its soundtrack. Really hard game. I've heard people tout this as one of the easier shooters. I don't see it. I think this game is hard. But you don't see this. I've never seen this at a game store. I've never seen this at a convention, at least out here on the East Coast. I mean, maybe up in New York, you guys might have copies of this floating around. We don't have this here, okay? And down here, or in the mid-East Coast, I find a lot of imports. I've only seen this once, and as soon as I saw it, I jumped on it. I pounced on this bad boy right here. But excellent shooter. I'm not even going to say excellent shooter. It's a decent shooter. It's a pretty decent shooter. I like it. It's really hard, though. I do think the difficulty in this game is pretty difficult. But anyway, we got Border Down for the Sega Dreamcast. And next on the list, we have 3 games again. Although these aren't Genesis games, we have 3 games for 3 different systems. Here we go. Okay. And I'll tell you the story about these 3 games and why I have them grouped together. And again, I apologize for the glare. So this kid traded in his game collection, and it was just a plastic tub filled with games. I was the first one there to kind of scope the scene and pick games out. I was there right after the money exchanged hands, and I was the first one to go digging through this tub. And I miss those times. I really don't get to do that. I do it sometimes. Actually, I did it last weekend. But I do miss the times of digging through the bins. But everything's so expensive now. You got to at least pay people almost what stuff is worth, right? But this was probably like the least desirable game in the bunch. I just saw this and never earned it. Never really seen copies of this. This might be like $100 game now, with the way prices are, especially PS1 RPGs in 2021. But the guy said, he's like, John, there's a Gigawing in there for Dreamcast. And I was like, oh shit. So I'm in there digging, right? Find the Gigawing. As I see the Gigawing, I see the Suikoden 5, which is an excellent RPG. This is one of my favorite RPGs on the PS2. And this is the first time I played it was this copy right here. I don't see copies of this that often ever, really. Maybe at conventions, but not at game stores. I've seen Suikoden 2 more than I've seen copies of this, as weird as that sounds. And for the lot, I paid $90 for the lot at a retro game store. Recently, I've seen this Suikoden 5 right here spike in price. I've seen copies upwards like $150, $160. Which is kind of crazy. This was a $50 game for a really long time. So pretty much I paid for the Giga Wing and the Suikoden 5, and I guess I pretty much got this for free. But I remember I paid $90 for the lot of 3, which is probably the best deal up here. Well, the next one's pretty good deal, but this is probably the best deal that you're going to see in this this group. But I don't know why these specific games and groups of games are coming to mind as some of my greatest flea market finds, although I think they are. Recently, I've been finding a lot of good stuff at the flea market. I don't know if people are selling their collections or what, but I recently found this Assy pad, and I found a copy of Sky Gunner at the flea market. And then on eBay, goddamn glare, I found a copy, and this is still sealed. I haven't even opened it yet. Gunner's Heart, which is the sequel to Sky Gunner, which this is more of an arcade style of game, at least from what I've seen the gameplay footage. But I look forward to cracking this open. I've just been so busy. I'm not going to open it till I'm actually ready to play it. But that's just kind of what gave me the idea for this video. I've been finding so much good stuff at the flea market. And luckily for me, and I like imports, it's just an area known for people trading in imports for whatever reason. But okay, so the last game I'm going to show you, which I think is the creme de la creme. This is the best one I've ever found at the flea market, at least up until now. Some of you guys may argue that Border Down is, but no, this next game's rare. This is probably one of the rarest games that I have ever found at the flea market. Y'all ready for it? 100% cotton on the PlayStation 1. So what is this? I don't even really know a ton about this game, but I do know this is a port of the Super Famicom 100% cotton. I'm sure the graphics are probably improved a little bit. I'm sure there's some reworking of the game, or maybe there's not. I don't know. Let me know if you, because I don't own 100% cotton for the Super Famicom. If you guys own both copies, let me know what the differences are. I'm assuming the soundtrack's probably better, maybe reworked, or who knows, maybe it's just a straight port of the game, sound, graphics, and all. But I know one thing, this thing is rare, and I got this thing for half of what the eBay sold listings were going for. Oh God, I forget what I paid for this. It was half of the sold listings, and sold listings at the time were going for like maybe 180 or 200 or something like that. Recently, I have seen copies of this for sale. People have been listing them for like 250, but a lot of times you will not even see copies of this on eBay. A lot of the times, this thing is rare. If you guys see this, definitely pick it up. I've only seen it this one time. And it's one of those games that's so rare that when people try to sell it sometimes, like if you're a real piece of crap and you see that there's no copies of a game on the internet, you know how people will list them for like 500 or $1,000 or just a stupid price, or just like throwing the fit, like casting a rod, just seeing if something will bite, you know what I mean? This is one of those type of games they do that with, but pretty fun game. I enjoy it. I think it's pretty good. I do look forward to that Cotton collection coming out for the PS4 and the Switch, the one that has Cotton 2 and Cotton Boomerang. God, I've been trying to play Cotton Boomerang for the longest time. That's an expensive Saturn game, but I have not found that yet at the flea market. I guess until then, I'll be playing 100% Cotton for the PlayStation 1. So what have you guys found at the flea market that's good? Let me know. I don't find like super crazy stuff like you see some other YouTube channels, but I do like shooters a lot, and I know a lot of you guys that watch my channel, you like them too, and I think we could all agree these are some pretty decent flea market finds. But anyways, guys, share at me in the comments what you found at the flea market, or maybe some really good deals you got at a retro store in your area. Till next time, peace.